What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Kai. I do all types of lifestyle videos, and something I do a lot is go to Disneyland. I have a Disneyland pass. I love Disneyland, and I wanted to do a Disney planning video because I feel like Disneyland is a whole thing of its own. I do have a whole video on planning for Disney World if you guys want to check that out, but I will say Disneyland is kind of a weird place. You almost don't need to plan, but you also still need to plan. I don't know, it's weird. So we're just gonna go down the list of things that I want to talk about. That way you can have a great trip and enjoy the day out at the parks. So yes, let's get into it. Like with all things first, what are your non-negotiables? Think about when you want to be at the parks. Do you want to be there for the holidays? Do you want to be there for the summertime? Is there a specific ride you want to go to? All of those things make a difference. For example, for the holidays, Christmas time begins by like mid-November, Thanksgiving time to like the first week of January. I know Halloween's starting a lot earlier, so it's like August through like October, and all of these things you're like, okay, who cares? But like, do you want to see the decor? Do you want to see how it looks during this time? There's obviously different offerings throughout these specific things. Make sure you want to go when you're like, oh, I really want to see that one thing. Or if you have a ride, for example, Haunted Mansion has been down for most of this year. It is opening back up for the Halloween season. That's something to keep in mind. Obviously, Tiana's is currently still closed here at Disneyland. Do you want to ride that ride? Plan accordingly. Make sure you know what you want like for sure to do. If you're like, I for sure want to ride Space Mountain, that's it. Just make sure to check out the refurbishment calendar. One of the pros about Disneyland is since it's a lot smaller, you will be able to do a lot of the stuff that you want to do, but make sure you know what you want to do, and that way it'll help you plan out your trip a lot better. Now, parks. Disneyland is the OG park. Disneyland is the park where Walt walked. This is where it all began. I feel like Disneyland deserves all its love because it deserves it. So here at our resort, we only have Disneyland and we have Disneyland California Adventure. Again, one of the pros about our Disneyland resort, usually if I say Disneyland resort, I'm talking about all of the Disney complex here in Anaheim. If I'm talking about Disneyland, I like the park, I'll just say Disneyland. But the Disneyland resort, it's pretty confined to a specific space, like all kind of walkable because it's in Anaheim, and then around it is definitely residential, so it is within a specific area. So even if you park in Mickey and Friends or Toy Story, the shuttles will drop you off to the Esplanade or downtown Disney, but from there you can walk to either park. They're within walking distance. You can be at DCA or Disneyland within 5 minutes of each other. It's great. But like I said, Disneyland's the OG park. That's where you'll have the castle. That's where you have Space Mountain, Big Thunder, Pirates of the Caribbean, all of that. DCA now has Adventures Campus, where you find Soaring. It's where you'll find Pixar Pier, which has Incredicoaster. DCA, I feel like, is an interesting park for so many reasons, because if you guys know the history of DCA, it was a wonky park to start it. It's gone through a lot of changes. It still needs to go through a lot of changes. I will say that it's definitely going a bit to gear to more adults. There's definitely a lot of like alcohol options over there to drink. They do kind of have some of the better food options as well. More sit down stuff over there as well. But I feel like they know their audience, that they want like more older people over there. So I will say it's also kind of more of a half day park. We'll get into it right now in terms of tickets, but I feel like you can do all of these things in one day. So keep that in mind. Disneyland is the OG park, so it's always like nice to visit it because again, it's a park where Walt walked. Walt's apartment is there. The Lily Bell is in the train there. All of those nice things. It feels very nostalgic. Perfect. I love Disneyland. So the next thing is to talk about tickets, and I feel like this is where it gets more like complicated because there's a lot to think about. First off, single day park or park hopper. So you can buy a ticket to just one park, or you can buy a park hopper, which allows you to get into both. I feel like this is also where you need to see your non-negotiables and see what is it that you want to do, because it's pretty possible to do all of Disneyland in a day. Like if you rope drop and you're there till like midnight, you'll be able to do everything and you'll be solid. But if you want to go to DCA, that like adds another element to the plan. Basically, just analyze what is it you want to do. If there's like things that you're like, oh, I'm okay with missing this. For example, I'm not a fan of the Magic Happens parade, so I skip it every single time. Like I do not care for this parade. I'll just go do something else. If you're okay with missing that and like doing something else in the meantime, again, non-negotiables. If there's things that you don't care about and you can skip, definitely do that. It is possible to do both parks in a day. It just requires a lot of planning. Again, we'll go into the whole lightning lane situation later on. I also have my notes on my phone if you guys see me looking down. At the time that I'm filming this, they also switched the lightning lane situation, so that's a whole other element. I guess analyze what you want to do. If you're okay with just going to Disneyland, you'll be fine with a single park ticket. I've gone with someone twice now and he always just gets a single park ticket. We only go to Disneyland and we're usually pretty happy, and we usually have enough time to just do all of that. The tricky thing with Disneyland is that, like, especially for people that are local, they just do the one day, and it's not really like a park where compared to Disney World where people like travel out to like be there multiple days. Usually here it's not the case. Obviously it does happen because there's like hotels, and we'll get into hotels in a bit. For locals it's just like a one-day thing, so they do have like multi-day tickets. That is a possibility if you're like, no, I want to for sure want to spend a full day on each park. That is possible. For hotels, Disneyland has only 3 hotels: Grand Californian, the Disneyland Hotel, and the new remodeled Pixar Pier Hotel. Technically I stayed at all 3, but for Pixar Pier I've only stayed years ago when it was still its old, oh my gosh, what did it used to be called? I think it was a Paradise Pier Hotel. So this was years ago, like this was like 2015-ish. So I have stayed at all 3 of them. Grand Californian is the most expensive, but it's also amazing. Like, I'm not gonna lie, when I stayed there, the cast member, when I was checking in, she's like, oh yeah, like this is gonna just ruin the experience in the other hotels, like this is prime. And she was right, because it is so beautiful, it is so peaceful. They obviously have a spa there, they have their own entrance into DCA, so you don't have to go through the front. You guys have your own security, your own entrance. So nice. It's obviously the closest to the parks in general as well. The Disneyland Hotel is like the OG hotel though. Obviously it's like the actual Disneyland Hotel. It is like at the end of downtown Disney though, so you do have to walk down. And in the Pixar new remodeled one, it's like across the street. It does have an entrance when you cross over. There is like an entrance into DCA that you can use, which I thought was really neat. It's not connected to the hotel like the one at Grand Californian is, but you can still use that entrance, which is on the Pixar Pier side. Keep that in mind, because obviously it's only for DCA. If you want to go into Disneyland, you have to like do the whole walk over. But all hotels do get the early entrance. They do have a schedule on what park is for early entry, so also keep that in mind, because some days it's for Disneyland, some days it's for DCA, so plan accordingly. Check your calendar, check what you have reservations for, because obviously Disneyland still does reservations, so keep that in mind. Because I know, for example, the one time that I stayed Grand Californian, I had reservations for Disneyland, but early morning was for DCA that day, so I couldn't use it, so I was like, bum. But obviously I didn't want to change my reservation in case I lost my reservation, so that was a whole thing. However, like I said, the one thing that I do say about Disneyland, since it's smaller, there's a lot of more stuff close by. So there is the Harbor Boulevard entrance. On Harbor Boulevard, there's a lot of hotels there. So there's a few that I will recommend. Grand Legacy, I will say, is the closest. I have had some issues with their housekeeping a few times. Like one time, housekeeping straight up walked in and it wasn't even midday. Like, it was so early that I was like, why? I don't know if they fixed this, because again, it's been a few years. Like, the first time I ever stayed there, I was in the ground level closest to the parking lot, and like the 2 nights that I stayed, they would clean, but they would open all my windows and then put my bags on my bed. Obviously I complained about these things because I was like, okay, first of all, I'm like by the parking lot, like anyone walking by can just look into my room and see my bags on the bed. And they did that both days, so I was like, and then obviously that other time that they decided to walk into my room at super early in the morning. However, overall, I do say it's a pretty clean hotel. It's really nice. It is probably one of like the best ones within like walking distance, and they do have a lot of discounts if you sign up for their email, so definitely check those out. I recently stayed at Hotel Lulu. That one is a bit of a walk. It is closer to the Toy Story parking lot, but if you like don't want to walk, you can walk into Toy Story and take their bus to the entrance. Hotel Lulu has like such a fun vibe. I'll include the blog where I'm there. It's honestly such a cute hotel. I really liked their rooms. It was really clean, it's spacious. I love their parking lot, because actually I feel like I'm throwing a lot of shade at Grand Legacy, but their parking situation is always so stressful because they do have like a rooftop lounge. They have a very small parking lot, and I feel like parking there was always so stressful, to the point that like I would just do ballet because that was like the only option, because I couldn't find parking. But Hotel Lulu, I love. They have so much parking. Their parking lot also is like has like the tickets, so like you can just scan in and out and then like open up, which adds like a level of safety, you know. I really love that. 10 out of 10. I do like Lulu. These last 2 have been years, so I can't tell you how it's been within the last couple years because it's been a long time. But Parkview is literally probably the closest one to like the entrance of Disneyland in the harbor side. But the last time I stayed was actually pretty decent. I will say this one does get pricey, and I'm pretty sure it's because it's like you just walk across the street and you're already within Disneyland harbor side, you know. But overall, this one was a pretty clean one as well. I know last time, again, I don't know about recent, but like they had breakfast in the mornings and I thought it was really nice. The other one I stayed at has been Desert Inn. I stayed that with my family, my older brother and his family. He was super nice enough because it was my niece's birthday to get like the two connecting rooms. This one was also very nice, walking distance. This one I felt was a little bit older, but like wasn't so bad. So those are 4 hotels that I've stayed within the harbor side that are not like Disney hotels, but are pretty decent if you guys want to check those out. There's obviously so many hotels. The Howard Johnson is one of like the more popular ones as well. There's a lot of hotels you can check out. I do want to stay at the Hyatt House because it's at the like, corner of Harbor and Catella, so I want to do that one day because I like Hyatt House in general. Like I've stayed at a Hyatt House hotel like elsewhere, so I want to try that for one day. There's plenty of hotels. Across the street from Disneyland is the Anaheim Convention Center. There's so many hotels. If you want to look down at reviews, I have heard people say that the Candy Cane Inn is a really good one because it's also been remodeled and they have a shuttle from their hotel to the park, which I think is super neat as well. There's another one that does a shuttle as well. Definitely check all the amenities of these hotels that you're checking because I know some of them do offer shuttles to the park, even if they're like, you're like, oh, it looks kind of close. Honestly, at the end of the day, you won't want a shuttle. But then now a little side note with hotels. Are hotels required for Disneyland? Not necessarily. Again, I feel like a lot of more locals go. A lot of people just kind of go home at the end of the day, no matter where they live. So it's not like a required thing here. Again, it depends. If you're a local, you're not going to do it. If you're coming from out of state, you probably will need a hotel. So don't think that this is going to make or break your experience. Like every single time that even when I didn't have my pass, I would just go home. The only times I've stayed at a hotel is when it was like festivity type of vibe. Like I wanted it to be like a little vacation. So it's not like a thing that I do often. Here it's not like a big deal of staying at a hotel compared to like a Disney World, you know? Transportation and parking, that's another big thing. Obviously making friends, and now it has like the Pixar structure as well. That's considered like the main parking lot. That's where you get the tram and it'll take you down to Disney, and it feels like such a like Disney-fied intro to your day. That's an actual structure. I personally park at Toy Story, which I know someone's gonna be like, why are you telling secrets? Toy Story is on Harbor and Catella. That one does have just like a bus. It'll take you from the lot to Disneyland. And making friends still have security there all day, so you'll do security at the parking structure and then they'll take you to the tram and then you can just walk into Disney. Whereas in Toy Story, they do security up to like I think noon, and after that they'll stop. But basically the bus after that point, the bus will just take you to the normal entrance, the harbor entrance, but you'll do security with like the normal harbor security, because basically harbor will always have security for like, again, those people from the hotel that are close by that have to like walk in. So you'll be able to do security with them after that noon, but before noon it's really nice that they do security. I haven't used the ride sharing, but I do say that I have heard some negative things of like the little point of pickup. It does get very crowded. Again, it's very small area, so it does get very crowded. Obviously be safe as well, because like once you walk out of the Disney bubble, you're in Anaheim, so keep that in mind as well. I know sometimes they will allow people to park at Garden Walk, but again, you have to walk to the park. Make sure to figure out what works best for you at that point. Also check out like transportation within other ways. I know that they used to offer like an actual like bus from, for example, Riverside to Disneyland. I know that Arctic is close by, which is like the train station. I know that they also offered a shuttle from there to Disneyland, which if you park at Arctic, it's free. There's options. Check that out. Check out who offers shuttles. Obviously at the end of the day, to get back to the parking lot is so busy, so check out what works best for you. So now let's talk about dining. I feel like, again, with Disneyland being a little bit more of a local park, people don't think about dining as much. I feel like people forget that you're actually allowed to bring in food to the park, so you can pack in your own food. The only thing you're not allowed to pack is like an open water bottle. You can bring like a refillable water bottle that's empty, but you can fill it up at the parks. But you can't bring like a plastic bottle that's been opened. You're allowed to bring food in, so that's a huge plus for me. Even growing up, not even at Disneyland, in general, like for theme parks, my mom would always pack food. Like we would never ever eat at the park, so I feel like that's a normal thing, especially with Disneyland. Like people just pack their own food, and that's totally okay. If you want to do that, you're honestly allowed to. Like I know that there's like picnic tables like within the outside. You can even just sit at any of the tables, especially with Disneyland. This is like such a normal thing. But if you do want to eat at the parks, there's 3 different, I guess, food. There's obviously fine dining, there's casual dining, and then quick service. Obviously fine dining is like Blue Bayou, and then DCA is like Carthay Circle. Those are like more expensive for sure, but they're sit down. Casual dining is what you consider like sit down, but it's more like mid affordable ish, but it's not super fancy. I guess it's like a mid tier. Quick service are like the kind of places that you go quickly. As the name says, for example, Rancho de Zocalo at Disneyland. I love Rancho de Zocalo. But it's basically you get your tray, you go ask for your food, and then they do have seating there, but like you seat yourself. It's supposed to be like fast. It's just like a quick place so you can grab something quick to eat. I personally, like I said, I like Rancho de Zocalo. I recently had the pasta at Plaza Inn for dinner, and honestly it was pretty good. You know, for being pasta at Disneyland. That was really good. Disneyland has tried to step up their food game, especially with like social media, because obviously they want to go viral with all of the things. So I feel like they have stepped up their food game within the last couple of years, because obviously I feel like Disney food gets a bad rep for being expensive, for being gross, but honestly they have stepped up their game. I will vouch for them. I actually have a video on Knott's, and Knott's, their food is so expensive. I have a Knott's pass, and y'all, my sister and I bought food, and it was $61 for burgers and a water, and that was with my pass. So the next day we had gone to Disneyland and we went to Rancho de Zocalo, and for both of us it was $39. So that was a huge shift. It's easy to dunk on Disneyland because there's a lot of things that they deserve to get dunked on. But yeah, going back to dining, if you want to eat, I guess Rancho de Zocalo is one of my favorites. Absolutely on the Disneyland side. On DCA, I used to eat at Award Wieners a lot. I don't as often because I don't know. It's something that like I have to like be craving. I feel like DCA has a lot of snacks, like standalone snacks. They have a lot of like specialty churros. I mean, technically Disneyland does have as well. Cozy Cone's gonna have so many of those. Obviously they'll do food and wine over there when it's food and wine time. There's definitely options, but like I said, you can bring in your own food. But if you want to check out there, honestly, download the app and just look up the menus. And also check out the Disney blog, like the official Disney blog, because they'll like release this is list of foods for this season. I feel like, again, one of the things with Disneyland planning is the fact that it's so local based, and there's like so many things that you almost don't have to do compared to like Disney World, you know? Because I know Disney World has like a dining plan, but that's also because a lot of people stay there for multiple days, whereas here it's like a one-day thing. Whatever works for you is the best option. Rope drop is the biggest thing, because honestly this is what's gonna get you to the most rides. Rope drop is pretty easy. You just have to be there once the park officially opens. If the park says it opens at 8, they will allow people to get into Main Street by 7:30, and that's gonna be a game changer, because once you're in by 7:30, you're checked in. You can buy now Lightning Lane. I have not used a new system, so I'm not too knowledgeable on it, so I'm sorry. You'll be able to get into Disneyland by 7:30, and that would allow you to pick whatever side of the park you want to start in. I've done rope drop for Indiana Jones. Every rope runs to it, but I was able to get into it within like the first 10 minutes. So it is beneficial to get like the bigger rides out of the way. It's like gonna be least line of the day and you'll be able to get it in. Rope drop is basically what it is. You be there once the rope drops. So once you get in and it hits 8, they'll do like the fun little announcements and they'll drop the ropes and you'll be able to head to the rides. Don't be alarmed by the crowds, because it does look like a lot of crowds, but everyone just disperses. You'll be able to get into things very quickly. Even my sister and I did rope drop once for Indy, and we were able to do Indiana Jones, Pirates, and Big Thunder within the first hour. It would allow you to get a lot of rides out of the way. I do recommend rope drop. Again, you just have to be there very early. That's the one thing. I know there's a thing that people are coining reverse rope drop, which is if you go after like firework time, which if you want to be a night owl, I 100% recommend, because yeah, rides are pretty much empty at that point, so you are able to do that. Also, side note, I do have a video on going to Disneyland by yourself, and it talk all about single rider rides over there and like show the screen times of how long it took me, because I will say I did freaking Space Mountain within 10 minutes in single rider when it was like a 60-minute wait. So check out that video if you guys are interested. But honestly, I kind of recommend doing rope drop instead of trying to get Lightning Lane. I think rope drop will save you so much time and money, because again, you'll be able to get so many rides out of the way early on and not necessarily be like, okay, let me book this time and then like try to burn time until your call time is, you know, and then spend more money on like your whole group. Because like I said, I would talk about it in my solo trip video, but there was a girl in one of the single rider lines and she was telling me how she had bought Genie because she was by herself, but she was like, I've literally done majority of the big rides without Genie. Like, it wasn't even helpful, because she was like, I've been able to just go in and out with single rider. So again, things to keep in mind. She was there early, all of those things. Rope drop is good, do it. So like I said, Disneyland just rolled out the new Lightning Lane system, so they got rid of like the old Genie. It's been a mess, I'm not gonna lie. People are never happy with this, and I agree, because it just gets so complicated. So from what it is, I'm currently reading it on the app. This is what it says. With Lightning Lane Pass, you can skip the standby line for selected attraction and use the Lightning Lane entrance to join a shorter line instead. Purchase a Lightning Lane Multipass, Lightning Lane Single Pass, or both, and fit more fun with your day. So this is what it lets you. Choose the next available Lightning Lane arrival window for your select attractions on the app. Modify your choice. You get photo pass with this. Unlimited photo pass for the day. So before your business, you can purchase it with your tickets or on the app. Obviously, I think for pass holders, you have to check in first before you're able to buy it, because I tried to like buy it and it wouldn't let me. It is $30 per person, so keep that in mind again. So once you're in the park, use the tip board, find an eligible attraction, and book the next available time. After redeeming your selection, or 2 hours after making a selection, you can book another attraction. Something also to keep in mind is that if you buy this, it does have a list of what rides you can go on. However, Radiator Springs Racers at DCA and then Rides of the Resistance at Disneyland are a whole separate payment by themselves because they're not included in that list. They're considered single lane passes, which again sucks that they're still doing that. I haven't used this new system. I haven't played around with it yet. I will say just do the rope drop route. You'll get more rides out of the way. That is it for this video. Like I said, you'll be able to do Disneyland in one day. Like, I've had no issues. Again, if you rope drop, you should be able to get a good chunk done early on. I feel like it's not as a big planning deal as like Disney World, so it's definitely a different experience in that sense because again, it's more local based, more single day based, all those things. So yes, so I hope this video was helpful for you guys. Let me know down below if you guys have any questions. I would love to answer that down below because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of stuff that I missed, so I would love to clarify anything down below. And don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. Obviously I do all types of lifestyle videos and a lot of Disneyland vlogs, so definitely stick around for that. And that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.